A very great man once told me that everything is perfect and is happening automatically. And if you have this thought in your head, then there's nothing that can happen in life that can bother you, that you can fear, or that you could get upset about. And so what a lot of people do is they get upset about what other people do. They think, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. And what they don't realize is everything's perfect and happening automatically. Now yesterday, if you remember, I was going to get some stanchions on eBay, and I've been watching these stanchions for about 3 or 4 days, perhaps a week even, and there was only 3 of them, and they'd be started off at 99p and they'd work their way up to £10 for 3 stanchions plus £5 postage. And yeah, this is a good price, but if I bid it up to whatever I'm prepared to pay for it, you can get 2 people bidding and they just bid the thing up into some ridiculous price. So I don't generally do that on eBay. I like also to wait right till the end, because sometimes things can happen and you don't get the item, or if you're meant to get the item, you get it. And yeah, and sometimes events conspire so that even though you might have got the item, you don't get it because you don't really need this item. So what happened yesterday was, I've been watching, the last hour, there was about 2 hours to go and then an hour to go with these stanchions coming up on eBay, and I've been keeping my eye on it. I've been having a look at the same time about navigation systems on the iPad, whilst I was, watching the one tab and then changing to the other tab and doing a bit of research. So it was coming closer and closer, and there was only 10 minutes to go. And I was busy messing around with this. And anyway, I got a phone call, and I don't get many phone calls, and right in the last 10 minutes. And I just completely forgot about this eBay item, chatted to the guy on the phone. And when I put the phone down, after a little while, I realized that the stanchions had gone down. So I went and had a look, and sure enough, these stanchions sold for £10. For 3 of them, which is a very good price. Somebody got a very good deal there. And I thought about this, oh my, what happened really? Why did this happen? And the guy that phoned me is quite interesting, because he's the person who's stopping me from getting my dinghy that I left at Canvey Island. Again, what happened was he wanted to have the dinghy because I left it behind. And so when I phoned Sue about picking up the dinghy, going to pick up the solar panel of the dinghy, she told me about this, and I thought, no, I need the dinghy, I'm thinking about the price of the dinghy and everything. But somehow this gentleman wants to take the dinghy away from me. The dinghy seems to be wanting to be taken away. I don't know why. First of all, it's left off the back of my boat. Then when I say I want to go back to get the dinghy in the car, no, this other man wants the dinghy. So at first I thought, no, I wanted the dinghy. And then I thought about it for a while. I thought, no, why am I doing it? Everything's perfect and happening automatically. Why am I getting in the way of this dinghy going to where it wants to go? And so I thought, no, I'll phone Sue again and I'll say, look, why don't you tell Nick, his name is, why don't you tell Nick that he can have the dinghy as long as he just sends me the solar panel, because I was going to get the solar panel on the dinghy, and if I don't get the dinghy, then how am I going to get the solar panel? And it was going to cost me a lot of money to put the car on the road and actually go and pick this thing up. So in actual fact, I might be better off just buying another dinghy or a new dinghy. I don't know why I need a better dinghy, but maybe I need a better dinghy. And so it was Nick who actually called 10 minutes before the stanchions went on to stop me getting the stanchions. So he stopped me getting the dinghy in the car, stopped me getting the stanchions. What's going on here? Is there something wrong with Nick or what? No, it's not that. Nick's a very intuitive guy. When I arrived, some people are more intuitive than others, and they can actually, they force the universe to move into certain places. And so I needed, Nick didn't know why. Nick put his ladder, he just moved his ladder and put his ladder next to my boat and said, you can use my ladder if you like. Because I needed that ladder. You know, if I hadn't got that ladder, I would have had a terrible time trying to work on my boat going up and down the ladder I had. And his was a proper ladder, a step ladder, and it was easy to get in that. But my other one was like this, and you had to climb over the rail. It was a terrible process. And so he saved my life with his ladder, really. And so he's very intuitive in this respect. And the man who put my boat on the water is also very, very intuitive. It does certain things that you're surprised at what he does, but you know, you can see in the end where it's leading you. And so he was a man who didn't put the dinghy on and say, go, you know, it was time to go. And so he forced me to leave the dinghy behind in the first place. So I could think about all these things and get angry at these people who are getting in my way, but it's not true. Everything's perfect. These are perfect people. They're behaving perfectly. And all the things that happen perfectly. And I may not need stanchions. I did notice that on older sailing boats they don't have any safety rails and stanchions, and maybe these things are actually a bad thing, that they can actually cause more problems than they actually worth. And so I believe in my case that it would be nice to have a rail around the front of the boat, but I believe the rail on the sides of the boat and getting from the cockpit into the front of the boat is very narrow here, only very narrow, and any rail is going to get in your way can actually cause you to trip up rather than anything. And so I'm going to probably run with my original idea, which was to remove the stanchions, the 3 or 4 stanchions that I don't need, and just put the rail around the front and leave it at that for now. Okay, so you don't know why anything's happening, but it's all happening automatically, and it's all for everybody's good in the end. And if you believe this, if you see it working, once you start to believe it, you start to see it working in your life. When you start to see it working in your life, it gives you confidence to believe it. And so it's not believing really, it's an understanding of it's a better understanding of what's going on in the world. Otherwise you can just get yourself upset about all sorts of things that other people do. And you don't know why they're doing it, but in the end, you can, if you see the underlying pattern that's happening, see where you're ending up, then you can see that it's all producing a good result. Well, as you can see, my high quality smart battery isolator has arrived, and it looks rather well made, and I want to show you something about electronics, marine electronics, because this is actually a marine electronics device. And if we open it up over here like this, we'll see inside that the electronics are not exposed. They're all what's called potted. There's some kind of a plastic material, plastic filled with plastic, or some kind of resin, so that the corrosion can't get into the electronic components. So it's just an example of why marine stuff is marine and why you can have trouble if you use ordinary non-marine things on your boat. So, sensitive relay, and the instructions are very, very simple. 2 batteries wired up, and that's all really. It just connects directly between the 2 batteries positive terminals, and comes with wire instructions, and it seems to be very, very straightforward. It will stop your house battery from trying to start your engine, and it will stop your house battery from discharging your engine battery from your lights and your navigation equipment and everything. So Everybody needs one of these things on their boat. If you haven't got one, you do need to get one. Now, the last few days I've been working on my navigation systems because my chart plotter is an old chart plotter, and it's a good chart plotter. It's got a map of the world on it, and it can get you from one place to another, but it doesn't have any detail. You have to buy special charts for that, and these are called CMAP charts, and the price of these things is absolutely outrageous. You know, you're talking about £150 for one chart, and you need loads and loads of them. So for anybody who isn't completely and utterly wealthy, the stinking rich, anybody who isn't stinking rich just can't afford to keep his old chart plotter going. And so you're forced, if you like, to join the computer internet revolution and have your chart plotter on your phone or on your iPad or on your other tablet computer, because this is the only way you can get cheap charts, which is a bit of a trick really, because it's kind of forcing us to get rid of all the good old equipment still and move to the same thing but all sold to you directly on the internet and making it easy. You click a button and buy, you know, and so they know that you're going to spend a lot easier this way. The same company, CMAP, does the charts for the old chart plotters and has an application on the internet that you can use, and their charts on the internet are loads and loads cheaper than the ones that you go in the old card system. So this is most unfair, really should be examined for competitive practices, because it's wasteful and it's just creating more waste by getting rid of things which are still workable and people buying new. We have to produce new objects, new electronics, and it's all just a big waste. And anyway, I have to bite the bullet on this because it's not possible for me to sail without detailed charts in some parts of the world. And so I've been looking at the various systems, and I've got a little piece of paper on this. I'll find it. Okay, here it is down here. I don't know if you can see this. So you can see there's a big cross right in the middle there, and that's on my ThinkPad 400. I've got two ThinkPad 400s which I was going to use on the boat, and there's a program called OpenCpn, which is a free program that runs on an ordinary computer on Linux, which I have, and it's got all the charts in it. So I had a look at this, and it was starting to look good. I spent hours and hours researching this OpenCpn, and you know, I've got a design here so that the computer can go onto my chart table, and I design my chart table and everything so it keeps it out of the weather, and I'm working out how the wirings can go. I need power and I need to connect to the GPS and everything. And so I look at all this, and then I go and I installed it. I installed OpenCpn, and then I went to here. I'll stop. I'll talk to you directly now. Yeah. So OpenCpn. I went to have a look at the maps, and they looked alright. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit primitive, but it looked like it could do the job if you're living in America, North America. But I went and had a look at the other parts of the world, and in particular the UK where I am, and you just can't get the charts. It's just that simple. And so, just a waste of time. You can't even look at it at all. So, I then started to do a bit of research to find out what other alternatives there are. And the iPad alternative seems to be the best. I went onto eBay and priced iPads, and you can buy an iPad for less than £50. And so I haven't decided exactly which iPad I want, but I think any iPad will do the job, even the very early ones. There might be some advantage of getting a more modern one with a better screen on it. I don't know what's perhaps the best approach. The use of the battery is probably the most important consideration, so perhaps an iPad mini is really what you want. I haven't researched the actual differences in wattage yet, but I'm going to do that before I actually buy an iPad. But I know that I'm going to use an iPad. And the same applications can be used on your phone as well as your iPad, so if anything goes wrong with your 2 phones and your 1 iPad, you've still got 3 different navigation solutions to choose from. And so that's I already have 2 phones. There's my redundant one that's in the case of an emergency, and so that should work out quite well for me. Now, I had a look at a few different systems. I narrowed it down to 3 different applications. I'll show you what they are. Okay, so right at the top there, let's tighten this up, it's still going. Right. So right at the top there we've got iSailor, and these prices are just what somebody did a review on them on the internet, and they did a sail around where they normally sail, and they bought them all and downloaded the different maps that they needed, and this was a price difference: £14, £20, £31. Now that's per year for the chart that they downloaded, and it's not a lot of money, you know. I mean, it's necessary to get what you need to get. Now there's a phone coming in there, so I'm going to check what that is, because sometimes everything's happening perfectly and automatically, so let's see what that is. Okay, so this is my friend David, who is one of the most intuitive men that I've ever met, and he always appears at the right time, as you probably realised. And now he's telling me that he checked this morning and my money has gone in to my bank account. Right, so what am I looking at now? My money has gone into my bank account, and I'm talking about the iPad, right? And so what it means is that I should actually get the iPad now, because it's £50 and there's one on the internet right now that's at a very good price. But with a buy now on it, I think it's actually less than £30 with a buy now on it. And so that's what I'm going to do. And that's probably as much as I would have paid for the stanchions at this point. So I looked at these 3 programs. iSailor is a very nice, very nice program, iSailor. And it's got many different maps of the world. It covers all of the world, really. And the other one, Seanav, is no good because it looks great. It's a really great program, but it's only got maps of part of the world. It's got no Africa on it or nothing like that. So Seanav is just a waste of time at the moment. It may come into its own in some years' time, and so it's worth keeping an eye on Seanav. But at the moment, if you're going to go travelling the world, you can't use Seanav. Okay, the next one is it Navico? I can't remember the name of it. What's it? I can't read my own writings. Just wait a minute.